same episode, I suppose. Yeah, I'll go for a little bit. I'll record an outro. I'll end the stream, and then I'll just keep going and do another one. So I did some Python, which was really changing a little bit, and then still having the same problem. And ChatGPT not really helping me. Like, I suppose it's saying you must do this, and then this, and then this, rather than just giving me the code, and giving me the code is what I want. But I'm still understanding it when it gives me the code. Some of it I don't understand. It's quite the save game and load game stuff. I'm not totally, like, and the stuff in my game function or game class, I'm not totally understanding. Like, I don't totally understand all of it. But I don't know if I totally need to understand it. Because it's not my job. It's not a class. And me understanding it, my life does not depend on me just understanding it. And I'm not doing it in order to get a job. I'm doing it because I feel like it. If I really need to understand it, then I can ask ChatGPT. If in the future I know people who understand it, I can ask them. If they give me attitude or act fucking snobby about it, or treat me like shit because I don't understand it, then I'll tell them to go fuck themselves and cut off ties with them. It's not rocket science, and it's not a big deal. Once I've got most of what I need, I'm going to be going back and forth between this and other games. See, I'm going to take what I'm doing in my original fiction RPG and apply it to other things. If I know how to properly do, if I have the saving done correctly, and the classes, and all the items, and the shops, and all the stuff that the menu, and the main menu, the in-game menu, the mapping, like the location stuff, fast travel, then I can adapt it, and translate it, apply it to Pokemon. I want to make Pokemon fan games and text-based. I might use some things where it brings up a window where it shows an image, or use ACSII or whatever it is art. So it's like art with like lines and stuff. I don't know how well that will work with Pokemon. I've tried at least twice to translate my game into like to make it so that it's in a box, like a window. And so instead of saying print and stuff, I need to have the text displayed on the screen rather than just printing it. And I thought, well, I need to do that because I don't want people to have to download Python and do all this shit, but you don't need to. You can have it packaged and it'll install it it'll be able to run it without Python. It'll just be a window. And the reason that I want to do a Pokemon fan game is because I've been trying to make Pokemon ROM hacks since I discovered Pokemon ROM hacks, basically, since I discovered all the tools. And, I have an idea for one, I just haven't totally written out the story. I could write out a fan fiction. I'm considering, like, going back into fan fiction, just because now I have my own fiction to work on, and then I can go back and forth, and it'll just help me with writing in general. Having something else to write will be good. I want to... Mostly all I've been reading is Pokemon. Pokemon fan fiction, Pokemon manga, and comic books. And all the books that I've been reading, I haven't been reading, I've been listening to, and they've been nonfiction. Some of them were fiction, like, a while ago. Some things I started and then I never finished. And then there's anime that I want to watch, and Let's Plays that I want to keep watching. Ow! And then my Let's Playing and streaming and things that I need to edit and stuff, so I got a whole bunch of projects. And I don't know if watching Let's Plays and anime and reading books and manga and comic books is really projects, but I consider that part of that kind of goes under that umbrella of things to do. I don't know really what I want to read in terms of fiction, other than the stuff that my grandfather has bought me over the years, and like stuff that I might want to reread. I don't think I want to reread anything. I'm not going to reread Harry Potter. If I want to go back to Harry Potter, I'll listen to the audiobooks again. Percy Jackson, I'm kind of done with. I don't know if I want to go back to Heroes of Olympus. Ow! And any other Rick Riordan stuff. Since I discovered that there was okay, so he opened his like publishing up to other authors that wanted to write fiction involving pantheons of gods. I don't know if they're all existing in the same world, but there was one that involved the Hindu gods, and then there's been other ones since then. Again, I don't know if they all exist in the same world. They are kids' books, so I might be better off reading more adult fiction that's fantasy, that's based on Hindu gods and well, either Egyptian gods or other African gods, and Celtic gods and Norse gods and Greek gods and Roman gods and Hindu but Vedic gods and Native American stuff and North American, South American, whatever, all whole world mythology stuff. But in terms of like just fantasy and sci-fi, I would prefer sci-fantasy over just strictly sci-fi, because I like Star Wars more than I like any other sci-fi, like space-based stuff. Like stuff like time travel and multiverse stuff, that's sci-fi. It's also science fantasy, but like Star Trek is sci-fi. Battlestar Galactica, might be sci-fi or sci-fantasy. A lot of that other, there's a team in space and they're going to new worlds and stuff. A lot of it is kind of similar, and I don't know if I'd consider it sci-fantasy. I'm done with Star Wars. I'm burned out with Marvel and DC, at least in terms of movies. I really wish more animation would come out of all of that. Like, I really wish Percy Jackson and Harry Potter would be adapted into animation and not film and TV shows where they purposely change the characters for diversity, and well, animation where it's continuation of a cartoon where they purposely change a character for diversity. I think if my fiction is ever adapted, I don't want it to be live action. I want it to be animation. That way, here's the thing. If I have a white character, then they don't necessarily have to be voiced by a white person, because if there have been characters who are not white that have been voiced by white people, like before when Cleveland Brown was, or Jubilee, which Allison Court came back to X-Men, but plays the older version of her in a video game in the show. It's like an alternate timeline that's a video. I don't even know. So she's still playing Jubilee, but like a different version of her. She preferred that an Asian American actress play Jubilee, which, okay, sure, fine, that's great. But she doesn't have an Asian accent. Like, she has an American accent. You wouldn't be able to tell by hearing her and not knowing that. Like, if you just heard the character in another room and you didn't know that it was a TV show, you didn't know that her name was Jubilee, and you didn't know that the character was Asian, you wouldn't know. Well, you might assume she's white, but there are people who sound quote unquote white who are not white. There are people who are whiter than me in skin tone that are not white. Like, literally whiter than me, like paler than me. Or don't consider themselves white, or consider themselves mixed. So, like, but I suppose, yeah, if I don't care if I don't care about a black character, or, well, okay, the voice that Cleveland Brown has is kind of like not a white person's voice, but Jubilee could be white by her voice. So if I don't care about that for that reason, a black person could play Abraham Newton, but I would rather them not race bend the character in a movie. Especially because he's ginger, and Hollywood seems to hate gingers, and they either make them brunette, or they make them black, or they make them Indian in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, or just Season 1, The Lightning Thief, or whatever, where he's a little Indian boy. Or he's a 12-year-old Indian boy, and Annabeth is black, and she was blonde. I didn't like when she was a brunette. In fact, I think I like her less as a white brunette than I do as a black woman, or black girl. But I have a problem with Grover being, and maybe that's just because they always change gingers. Roy Harper is a freaking ginger, but he was a brunette on Arrow. Jimmy Olsen, has he ever been a ginger in live action? He's either been a brunette or he's been black. Both Grover Underwood and Jimmy Olsen in their respective source material are like thin, nerdy, shy ginger kids, whereas in their film and Supergirl show adaptation, they're tall, muscular, sexy, confident black men. Like, if that's not them saying something, then I don't know what is. Maybe it's like, are gingers just rare and blondes are just rare? Why are they trying? Why is it always? Have they ever race bent brunettes? It's always a blonde or a ginger, and also blondes becoming ginger, or blondes becoming brunettes like Annabeth or Barry Allen. Blondes and gingers. Now, where is that from? Where are blondes and gingers from? Oh, I wonder. You can't say certain extremely racist individuals are wrong when they're, I mean, they don't have a point with their racism, but they have a point with, it seems like someone's trying to get rid of them. Not rid of the racists, but rid of, like, the white people, like the Celtics and the gingers and the blondes. Again, maybe blonde actors and ginger actors are less common than brunette actors and black actors, like, and they want diversity with non-white people, and there's just more brunette white actors. That could very well be it. But The Little Mermaid, Annie, Iris West, Mary Jane Watson, Grover Underwood, Sword of Wally, where he's like a combination of two characters and then another character, Whereas like they changed Wally to being Daniel West, and they combined two Wally Wests, and then combined him with one of their fathers, because Wally West is Iris's nephew. Both Wally Wests are Iris's nephews. So that means that it's like Daniel West is the black one's father. I don't know who the ginger Wally West's father is, but I'm assuming Iris West has two brothers, and they both had a son named Wally, named after their great-grandfather, Wallace. I think nowadays Wally, the black Wally West, is called Wallace, which is why he was called Wallace a lot in The Flash, specifically by H.R. West. Or H.R. Wells, sorry. Ariel, Annie, Iris West in two different adaptations. Jimmy Olsen, Grover Underwood, Mary Jane Watson. There was a character that was changed within the same run of a comic book series. Like, it wasn't a reboot. It wasn't anything. It was just he was a white ginger, and then all of a sudden they released the next run of it, and he's black. And they explained that, like, and you know for a fact that they're not going to make the fucking Weasleys black in the new Harry Potter adaptation, are they? They're going to make a family of 7 poor people, a poor family, black, an extremely poor family black. They're not going to do that, or they would, and it would be just so cringy. And black people would actually be offended. And so, I already have characters that are black. I need to flesh them out, other than them being black and being cops. And having lightning magic and a mace. Although, that was originally, because originally... Okay, so there's all infinite versions of Benjamin Matthews, but there's 2 good versions. I didn't want to have him have an evil version, just because I'm afraid of being called racist if one of the villains is black. Although if he's from within a group of bad people, then I suppose that's fine. But so I could have one of them being, but there was originally the character was white, but then I made him black just because I was like, okay, I have too many white characters. I'm gonna make one of them black or half black, and then I was like, okay, this person can be Haley Hancock can be half Indian. But then I was like, should I really? I feel like making them half white and half something else is worse. No. So maybe I should just stick to them being white, but having another freaking white ginger. Well, yeah. If I have two different white ginger characters that are not related by siblings, and then there's the one guy has siblings and has parents. Hollywood's gonna find a way to race bend them, either to black people or Asians. They're not. They're white. I don't care. You can make the fucking white family be like the forests. You can make them part native because of the frickin' nature thing, and hell, yeah, Emily Forrest can be native. Like, I can make her native, or, I mean, just because you're in tune with nature doesn't mean you have to be a Native American. Olivia, I mean, I want her and Jason to be white. Just because they're based on me and a girl that I was, like, not in love with because I just like the way she looked, and she sat beside me and she didn't fucking run away from me and stupid. Ow! It's her hair and her skin tone. Okay. Like, Jason and them can be half native or like a quarter, whatever. Robert could be native. I don't really. But see, if I make characters white, I don't have to be afraid of doing them wrong. I could do whatever I want. I don't have to have them have a certain personality in order to appease the natives or the Asians or the black people on TikTok and Twitter. There's tons of people that probably wouldn't give a shit. So maybe I should think about them and stop worrying. But I have to worry in this day and age. So I made Benjamin Matthews black. And originally it was that the backstory was them the family escaping to Earth 1 from Earth 2 because the Earth 1 versions of them were evil and they took over the kingdom and not just didn't just banish them through war. And so the evil version of Thomas Newton killed that Earth 2's version of Benjamin Matthews' father, Philip. Called him the N-word before he killed him, and then he was killed. Like the guy that killed him, I think the good Thomas Newton immediately killed him, or they didn't have time to fucking avenge him and just got the fuck out of there. But then the good version of Philip Matthews, or the other version of Philip Matthews, the Earth 1 version, was helping the bad guys, but in duress. Like, he wasn't a bad guy. Originally, he was like a scientist, but now I have him being a cop. And so, like, the Earth 2 version of Benjamin and his mother they were taken away. His mother was possibly killed, and then Ben was like warped with dark magic, which so he can be a villain without being evil. And originally he was going to have dark magic, and his white blonde girlfriend was going to have light magic, and it was going to be play on their skin color. And then Benjamin was going to be like, "Oh, what the fuck? Like, really?" And then some magical force was going to be like, "No, not about that." I don't know, and so he was going to have lightning magic and a mace which was his father's, because when I started putting him in Skyrim, I was like, okay, I'll just have a different weapon. I'll use a mace and I'll use lightning magic, and that'll be cool like that. And so I'll put that in my story. And so it'll be his father's mace. But now that he's not dead, but there's still two good versions. Like, I haven't fleshed out the Earth 2 version of Ben Matthews and Philip Matthews this time. Maybe they're just on that world. They weren't in connection to the main families, and they are evil, but they're on that world. They're from that world. Whereas the Earth 1 versions of them have nothing to do with the families, and they're cops. But Phil Matthews came to know Robert Forrest, and then he found out that he was not the Green Arrow, god damn it, the Emerald Hood, and he helped him, or he didn't know that he was the Emerald Hood until much later, until after he had found out that Robert Forrest did these crimes that the Earth 2 Robert Forrest didn't do, because he's from Earth 2 and he's posing as Earth 1 Robert Forrest. And so Ben Matthews is also a cop and is dating Jane Forrest, who's Jason's older sister, who was going to be blonde, but she's just brunette. She might dye her hair blonde, but brunette girl dyeing her hair blonde because she's dating a black guy is like a trope and like a stereotype thing in the fucking porn thing. No, it's not a fucking porn thing. There's just a lot of blondes that are fucking black dudes in videos, and you can tell that they're brunettes. I think there's a lot of women that are brunette that dye their hair blonde for attention. Whether it's from men or women or whoever. What the fuck? You've got to be fucking... Oh, okay, hold on. I literally changed nothing. All I had to do before was fucking the video, and it worked. I literally changed nothing before fucking turning Minecraft on. Nothing. I can't fucking do anything to fucking affect this. There'll be no help online. And if I go to fucking stupid ChatGPT and say, okay, well, it's fixed now. If it wasn't fixed and I went to ChatGPT and I said, I changed nothing, this is happening, it would ignore the I changed nothing and be like, oh, make sure this is updated, make sure this is updated, make sure this is updated, make sure you do this and make sure this. I changed nothing. Like, it was working before and I changed nothing and now it's not working. Implies that everything was updated and everything was fine 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, however long ago. So why is that 40 FPS? Now what the fuck is going on? Now it's at 40 FPS and it won't fucking respond. And now it crashed. Like, all I had to do before was turn off, like, exit it, like, turn it off in the system tray or whatever it's called. Exit from it, and it worked. It showed that the inventory was fine. Didn't have problem. Fucking NPC. Well, I activate, like, I spawn him later. But now, like, I changed nothing. Came back to, and it was fucked. Like, really? Really? And again, if I went to ChatGPT for help, it would assume that something was not updated or that I've done something wrong. It would, like, it always assumes that you are the one that did something wrong. Like, what is this? Like, this is fucking ridiculous. This is